A lot of killers. We got a lot of killers. Why, you think our country's so innocent? You think our country's so innocent?
I don't know of any government leaders that are killers in America.
Well, take a look at what we've done too. We've made a lot of mistakes. I've been against the war in Iraq from the beginning.
Yeah, mistakes are different
We made
than...
a lot of mistakes, okay, but a lot of people were killed. So a lot of killers around, believe me.
Those are just the latest controversial comments from President Trump. And they're comments that you would think would have the progressive and hard left wing of the Democratic Party cheering. I mean, there was a time when the anti-war movement and those who held American foreign policy in contempt would be drooling over an admission from the president like that. Heck, even the self-loathing President Obama, who wanted the U.S. to lead from behind, wouldn't say something as controversial as that. But the reaction from both the left, the right, and the media has been quite something. Most of the reaction has seemed to suggest Trump was somehow defending Putin. And maybe he was, but I mean, the U.S. has had relationships with other dictators that I wouldn't have a problem calling killers either. But we don't ever hear the media or the left talk about them in the way they have been talking about Vladimir Putin and Russia recently. Of course, the reaction from the right, in particular the neoconservative wing of the GOP, was to defend American foreign policy and the collateral damage it's caused. But just think about what Trump said for a minute. You think we are so innocent. Well, the truth is, for decades, American foreign policy and CIA activities did support killers. Think about the Contras in Nicaragua, which were right-wing rebels backed and funded by the U.S. They were killers. Or the U.S. backing of the right-wing death squads during the Civil War in El Salvador. Those were killers. And yeah, at the time, fighting communism was seen as a noble and virtuous cause, which is why the U.S. backed and funded these groups who were opposed to Marxist guerrillas. But hindsight is always 20/20. Let's look at a more recent example, though. The U.S. drone program under President Obama. The program's morality has been brought into question, and fairly, I think. And it was in the final days of the Obama administration that they came out and admitted to at least 117 civilian deaths from the drone program. And when you consider that the program was used to execute at least one American citizen, Anwar al-Awlaki, a terrorist leader of al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula who was killed in a 2011 drone strike, there are serious moral and ethical questions about such a program. I really do believe that executing an American citizen, no matter what the allegations or charges, in an extrajudicial way like a drone strike is very concerning. Some may even call it a killing. So you'll have to excuse the Trump derangement syndrome infecting the left and the media as they try to make this all about Trump cozying up to Putin and Russia, while ignoring the very arguments against U.S. foreign policy they've been making the past 15 years. And frankly, the neoconservative wing of the GOP needs to recognize that they were soundly defeated in the primaries when an anti-war non-interventionalist in Trump won and has established a new direction for the GOP as far as foreign policy. I do, however, suspect that Senator Rand Paul was actually quite pleased to hear such an admission from the president. This is why I like President Trump so much. He's a pure populist, and it's right now during a time when party and ideological partisanship are at a fervor not seen since the U.S. Civil War. And it's refreshing. It's refreshing that a Republican doesn't feel bound by his party's past positions on foreign policy that clearly failed when we look at the war in Iraq and the aftermath. The problem is when you have a dishonest media acting as an opposition party, rather than giving the public the news without any conjecture, the battle becomes even harder for Trump and his administration. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. I hope you like what you saw, so click subscribe on that YouTube channel. And if you really like it and you want to support us, well, for just $8 a month, you can get premium content that you won't find anywhere else. Click subscribe.